Hey everyone, back again. This time, I'm kind of not really excited to talk about Dominion, prequel to The Exorcist, which is the final Exorcist film in the franchise. And like Exorcist the Beginning, I said in that video that I couldn't really stand either one of these prequels. Either one of these Exorcist prequels, I feel like they're so boring and uninteresting. Um, but good news, I guess, rewatching Dominion, the second prequel to The Exorcist, I liked it a tad more than Exorcist the Beginning because I think the best thing going for this movie, even though it's boring to me, is that it at least is more serious for the most part up until the end. And even at the end, it's serious, but it's still goofy. As opposed to Exorcist the Beginning, which has a lot more CGI and it's filmed in a different way, and Rennie Harlin directed it, who has some kind of silly over the top horror movies. But I'm a big fan of Rennie Harlin regardless, but his horror movies can be kind of over the top and silly. And Exorcist the Beginning is pretty subdued for his type of movie, but he did a good job, but it still has some silly CGI and some silly moments in it. And the thing I can give about Dominion, this one I'm talking about here, is that this at least is filmed in a way where it looks like it's a literal prequel to The Exorcist, the first one, where it doesn't have much CGI in it, and when it does, it's kind of far away in a distance. Like, the creatures that Marin sees in this movie are at a distance, so you don't actually see much CGI, but you can tell it is. As opposed to the beginning, where the beginning had CGI that was kind of like apparent and really close. They smartly did it different in this one. And again, this is a second prequel that's different than the other one, where I think it's literally just another iteration of it. And it's funny because this, like I said, this has a lot more credibility to it than Exorcist the Beginning, even though they're close to the same movie in a way. Because, like I said, it's filmed and shot, and it looks like the original Exorcist. Like, it looks like it could have been, you could go straight from this one into that, even though I don't want to because I don't like this movie. But if you wanted to go into the first Exorcist movie, you can watch this and go into that one and see how it's filmed and shot, that it looks close to that. Like, it looks similar. So I like that they did that authenticity to it. I like that a lot. But even though it's got credible things about it, it's still boring as shit. Like, this movie is just so uninteresting, just like Exorcist the Beginning. This one is a little more interesting by a tad, but it is still not that interesting at all. It's more interesting than the beginning, but it's still not very good. And it's funny, with this version, like I said, it's got more credibility to it, but it's funny how this was the original version that was gonna come out, but then they made Exorcist the Beginning, which paled in comparison in terms of, like, box office. They didn't get anything, and then critic ratings, it got really negative reception. This one, I don't know what the reception is. I think it's just mixed reception on at least Metacritic and Rotten Tomatoes. But, so this one is kind of, in a way, the better product, even though they're both basically the same kind of boring movie, in my opinion. But they feared that this version would fail, but the beginning fails, and they put out Dominion a year later. So it's such a weird thing having two prequels that are different iterations with Stellan Skarsgård, and having him play Marin in both. It's just a weird experiment that they did. It's really strange. And it plays it straight for the most part, up until the ending, where the ending is really silly, because it's silly, but it's serious, if that makes sense. Like, as opposed to the beginning, where the beginning had silly moments throughout, this one is totally keeps it straight until the end of the movie, and then the end where this guy is possessed, it is shot and looks like a serious moment, but it's just silly because this character from that's not American, obviously. This character becomes possessed and then has an American kind of face and loses all of his things on his face. Like, he had bigger teeth, like his teeth are messed up teeth, so now they're like normal, and he's bald now, and he's possessed now, and it's really silly. And it just doesn't work for me. And the end of the movie, it's like the demon that possesses this guy. He creates an aura which has all these people just start fighting and start trying to kill each other, and it's so weird, it's so dumb, and like it makes sense in the plot that Marin like encounters this guy and he says at the end like, you do not have dominion over the earth, you are not going to kill us or have them kill each other. But like it just is stupid. It just doesn't. It's really odd and really silly. I just didn't get it. And then of course, surprise, surprise, he does the Exorcist. Marin does, and the demon gets out of that guy. But then one guy at the end is like, yeah, now this demon will start pursuing you now. So obviously we're gonna get Exorcist sequels. That was just a dumb line to put in the movie. It's like, it is a prequel. We've already had the other Exorcist movies. It's like if you started out with this one and then did the Exorcist, it would make sense. But it's so dumb that they had that on the news comment like, oh, now the demon's gonna follow you forever now. No, it's so dumb. I don't like that. So this was just, again, just really forgettable like Exorcist the beginning was, but this at least had a little bit more credibility, the way it's shot, and the more serious tone up until the end. And even then it's serious, but it's silly at the same time, as opposed to being just silly in Exorcist the beginning. So this is another odd iteration of these two prequels that neither one of them I like at all. This one's a tad better than the beginning, but it's not very much. And critics, I noticed online, it's like critics thought the same thing. Like, this is a tad bit better than the beginning, but it's still not good or great. So I really didn't like this movie again rewatching. And this one in the beginning, this is only the second time I've watched both of these movies in my life. I've only seen them now a second time. And I'm going to forget about them again immediately. And the only reason I watched them is because I love watching the first three and I wanted to talk about them on the channel. So the Exorcist series is done, except for the show, which I will probably eventually watch, even though it's canceled after 2 seasons. But I want to watch the show eventually. But we're finally done with the franchise. I'm glad. I love talking about the first three. I love the first 3 movies, and these 2 are just forgettable duds. These 2 prequels. So yeah, this one was just forgettable, and I don't think I'll ever watch it again. Maybe if I have to for a review, but I've already reviewed it, so I don't know. I wouldn't just watch it on my own volition, so yeah, this is just a forgettable mess, just like the last prequel. Just stick with the first 3, at least in my opinion. And even though people hate 2, like, I'd say stick with the first 3. 2 is at least more interesting than these 2. So yeah, this one was just a really forgettable dud, but I'm finally glad I'm done with the franchise. I think I'll rank them as well. But it's just so weird with, like, I don't know, these 2 movies are so not good. It's like they're going to be at the bottom. So we'll see how it goes in my ranking. Thanks so much for watching. I'll make a ranking soon on these films. Comment, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching.